What's up, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome back to episode 2 or part 2 of our bowl preview. We're previewing today the NC State men's football team versus ECU in the Military Bowl a week from this Saturday. In episode 1, we kind of just broke down the ECU offense a little bit with the NC State defense, and we're going to kind of flip that here. Michael left you with a teaser in episode 1, and I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm going to let Michael jump right into it and kind of give us a little bit of your explanation on why you came to the point that you came, and then just give everyone what the point that is that you made.
Yeah, I think... So I think comparing the two teams, I think their offense versus our defense is probably going to be a bigger, closer matchup to watch. I really think we have a huge advantage offensively versus their defense. Mm-hmm. A couple of things there. We talked about it before. The teams they played were not great. They scored a lot of points. They also gave up a lot of points.
Yep.
And I think their defense has been hit harder with transfer portal guys. Mm-hmm. Starting D lineman, starting linebacker, I think a corner.
Yep.
So they're really hurting on that side of the ball. So I think and so far, I'm sure that we'll hear some once we get closer to game time, but we don't have anybody officially that has either opted out or has entered the transfer portal that would be a starter on the defense. So
right.
Or on the offense. So
yeah. When you look at the stats, and we'll break down the position groups here, but the one thing that kind of jumps out at me comparing and contrasting the two, as a team, they threw for more yards than the Pack did. That them being ECU, 3285 versus 2794, so almost 500 yards difference in the passing game. But conversely, when you look at the run game, we ran for 300 yards less than they did. Also, ECU ran for 300 yards more than the Pack, but the average is the same. So if you're looking at the numbers, as just a pure holistic thing, if you will, just at its face value, the raw numbers, if you will, it doesn't look overwhelming. Now, to the point, State playing in the ACC, ECU playing in the AAC, the American Athletic Conference. I still like our position players better than State's. Against ECU's. Carson, kind of just give me your initial thoughts there. One of the numbers that I just shared.
Pretty good. Definitely in favor of State when you consider the opponents, but still very similar with regards to methods of play, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. So just kind of throwing out some numbers there. State's leaders on offense, CJ Bailey led the way with almost 2,200 yards. Now remember, that wasn't a full season. I think, what did he have? 9 games? I'm going to say 9 games.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, 9.
McCall played in Western, Tennessee, and then half of LA Tech.
But did he play the whole Tennessee game?
He played. He played until like 5 minutes left.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you want to give CJ almost 10 games essentially when it's all said and done. But true freshman quarterback who just got progressively better as the season went on, as he got more reps. I felt like his coming out game was that Cal game where he engineered the comeback, and that every game after that, I thought he played some of his best ball. Now, did he make some mistakes? Obviously, that Georgia Tech game, he had a couple of, bad turnovers, if you will. But he went on the road in Chapel Hill. Now, granted, it's Chapel Hill. He went on the road. Big deal, right? People are going to say that. That's still a thing for me. No, I'm just kidding. But I honestly, I thought that he got better as the season went on. You could. It's easy for a freshman to kind of hit a wall, if you will, especially towards the end of the season. It's a more grinding thing than it is high school ball. But I just thought, I thought CJ got stronger as the season went on. Carson, kind of give me your thoughts there.
And before we get going back into this amazing interview, we want to take a quick second and tell you about Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 different offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their website at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's gotten stronger, but he showed a lot of potential even when he came in. Look at that Syracuse game. We had a lot of executional errors, but we still moved the ball really well. I mean, we had a fumble that was inside the 30. CJ got a fumble off of a sack. That was inside the 40. He had an interception, which was tipped and in Syracuse territory.
Yep.
Yeah.
So even though he made a lot of, say, freshman mistakes, a lot of those were just executional errors that weren't his fault. And he still moved the ball well in that Syracuse game.
Yeah, I thought he was aggressive. Right, I don't ever felt like he was tentative, that he played quote unquote scared. I thought that he was very aggressive, and that you could see him in his progressions, just in his reads. Like I just really thought that he got better. And I don't know if it was the offense getting more simplified for him, or he just the light turned on for him, the switch turned on. But you definitely saw a different CJ. You go out and get steamrolled by Clemson, and that was his first start in his college career, and that could have been like a deer in the headlights. Like going forward, it could have really stunted his growth, but it didn't. Like he took his lumps and just went on.
And he wasn't even that bad in that game. It was just like we were out of it because of the defense from the beginning. So he was playing catch up all game. But like for his first start, like it really wasn't that bad of a start. Like I thought he played worse the next week at home versus Northern Illinois than he did on the road against Clemson.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement. So, all right, well, let's move over to the running backs, because it's one of those. It's now that I'm looking at the stats here in front of me, you have 3 guys that are within 26 yards of one another, right?
Yeah.
Like it's one of the most even run. Now the averages are going to play out differently, but you have Jordan Waters, who led the team with 445 yards rushing. Then you had Hollywood just behind him at 432, and then you had Kendrick Raphael at 419. But the averages, Jordan was just under 5 yards at 4.9. Hollywood was at 5.8, and Kendrick Raphael was at 5.7. Yeah. That is some good, efficient running right there. And it's funny because you heard all year long from some people, the offensive line is trash. Jordan Waters isn't, hitting his holes, blah, 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 this and blah, 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 that. But at the end of the season, it doesn't bore that out.
It kind of, I mean, in the last couple of games, it really started to come together as a unit. Like it's on the offensive line as well as the running backs to have an effective run game. And I think you really saw it start to really come together against Stanford. Like obviously Stanford was terrible, but I think that kind of gave us some
schedule, and they're still
confidence.
in the conference. So.
Because we ended up running, I think, ran the ball well against Duke, and then Georgia Tech and UNC especially. I think we had over 200 yards of rushing in both of those games. So
and I didn't even talk about CJ's running. At the end of the season, CJ's numbers are going to be skewed because sacks are counted in for that, and so on and so forth. But I mean, he ran for 255 yards on limited carries. So I thought he gave you some opportunity, like for someone that you didn't really think that was mobile, quote unquote. He showed every bit of it in that Georgia Tech game, where he made plays out of nothing, that he broke down some times and ended up running for 3 touchdowns and long touchdowns too. I think they were all like 25 yards plus,
and I think they were all scrambles too. I don't think any of those were design runs.
No, I don't think they were either. So what we're going with this is, other than Waters, you're returning all of that next year, and it gets you excited for the bowl game, right? Gives you your last taste of the season. But just, I guess, Carson, kind of break it down for me. Like, what does State need to do on offense to be successful against ECU's defense?
I think the big thing is just letting CJ cook. If you look at ECU's defense,
I love young kids now. They got to cook.
Yeah. if you look at ECU's defensive stats, let's look at all of their leading tacklers. Omar Rogers, defensive back. Zeki Barber, linebacker. Mike Edwards III, linebacker. Jamarli Riddle, defensive back. Raheem Craig, linebacker. Yep. And if you scroll down on their list, there was almost no one on their secondary that is leading their team in the tackle leaders list.
Right.
That is absolutely crazy to think about.
Yep.
From no one in the entire secondary is on the top, 25 on the defense for tackling. Like, that is really bad from a secondary standpoint. And so I think if CJ just goes out and slings the ball to Wesley Grimes, if he cooks, if he just gives the ball to Wesley Grimes, give it to Noah Rogers, just give it to those guys, give it to Justin Jolie, and we can make some real magic happen, and we'll start scoring fast.
Yeah, and before I send it over to you, Michael, you mentioned a couple names, Carson and Barker, who's in the transfer portal. So he, we don't know what his status will be in the game, whether he's going to play or not. But to your point, Carson, he's their second leading tackler. And then Mims on the D line, who Michael mentioned in episode 1, who's also, which I think he just committed to Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
he did.
So we won't get to beat him this year, but we'll beat him next year. He's a guy that he had 1.5 sacks and 23 total tackles on the year. And you mentioned the other guy that they have in the portal, Michael, that they had him at multiple levels. The third name in that list was I just had it here a second. Give me 1 second. Isaiah Brown Murray. He's the other guy in the portal, and he sits like 7th or 8th in team tackles with 42, and he has 1 interception on the year. So there's some pieces there, to your point, Carson, that are going to be missing potentially in this game. So, Michael, with all that being said, kind of give me your thoughts on the offense, what we need to do to be successful against ECU in this game.
Yeah, I think we were talking about it. Just, I think you got to continue to run the ball well, because I think it's funny, the games that we've ran the ball well have been CJ's best passing games, just because it's complementary football. That's what Doran talks about all the time. When you can run the ball, that makes the defense come up and try and load the box and stop the run, and that opens up the passing game.
Right, you can run play action off of that. Yeah. Just staying on the positive side of the chains in positive situations, staying ahead of the chains. Not. And I thought State's done a pretty good job over the last couple of weeks on the offensive side of the ball as far as penalties go. And so you want to continue to see that, to where, you put yourself in third and manageable situations, and go get third down efficiency at a high clip. And if you do that, I think you're going to be fine in this game. So I kind of want to shift over to the wide receivers, because this is something that with with Casey Concepcion's departure, this could be the Jonathan Paylor game. We always like to put a name on a game, and this could be a Paylor game here. We expect to see him his first extensive action as a Wolfpack football player, and he's gotten a little bit. I think he's gotten in 1 or 2 games prior to this, but he hasn't really registered any kind of stats to this point. So how if you had to put a buy or sell on it, Michael, give me a buy or sell Jonathan Paylor participation in this game. Like, what do you think's gonna, like, what would make you excited in this game about seeing Jonathan Paylor?
I think seeing him at all, for sure. But I think there's a lot of things you can do with him. kind of like almost like what you did with KC. Like you can line him up in the backfield or in the slot.
Because he kind of was like a Swiss utility knife, a Swiss Army knife, where he can be a running back or he can be a slot guy.
Yeah, so I think you get him some of those touches and see what he can do.
Do we see him on special teams? Like do you see him back there returning punts instead of Jalen Coit?
That's a good point because Coit is in the transfer portal. KC's in the transfer portal.
That's true. I forgot Coit was in the transfer portal, so you could see Paylor. Thank you. I totally forgot that Coit was in. You could see so there's a question like who becomes your punt returner and your other returner on kickoffs. Because you typically have Hollywood Smothers back there. Who's the second guy?
Kaufman.
I'm sorry, you're right.
So
you're right. Sorry.
That'll probably stay the same. But punt return, I think you could definitely see Paylor out there.
Yeah, because for kickoff returns are a bit different because there's an actual plan. Punt returns is more like just catch it and do your thing.
Right. Don't fumble it.
Yeah. Compared to kickoff returns, we're just like, okay, are we going to go left? Are we going to go right? How are we going to cover this? Punt returns is just do your thing.
Make something happen usually.
Yeah, and by all accounts, Paylor has that ability, right? He has that missability ability. If that's I just kind of maybe made that term up, but so I'm excited to see Jonathan Paylor, plus minus 3 catches. What are you taking, Michael? Over under, excuse me. That's better to always say over under 3 catches for Jonathan Paylor in this game. You're a gambler.
I say over.
Over? Okay. What about you, Carson? Over under 3 catches for Jonathan Paylor in this game?
I'm going to go over. I think that Dorn is not going to give Paylor an opportunity, though, until late in the game when you have guys like Jolie, Grimes, and Rogers. But considering how this matchup is, I think that eventually Dorn is going to put Paylor in and let Paylor do his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you called it touches instead of catches, I think it's definitely over. Because
if it's touches, it's definitely over.
Yeah, they'll definitely get him on a reverse somewhere or something.
Get out in space.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a better way to say it, because I fully, he's been there the whole year. He's been learning behind KC, and an interview that Paylor gave the other day in preparation of the game, he said that KC was a good mentor to him, and he's learned a lot. And I would assume that he's probably shadowed him, and I would assume again I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but the playbook would favor Paylor, anything that KC was in on that Paylor would just slot into.
Yeah.
And we already know how much the offense tried to force feed KC at times, but I thought this offense was better when they stopped force feeding KC and went to your other weapons, which I think this is a prime game where Jolie can literally just kick someone's ass. Just because I feel the mismatch is going to be a thing in this game for Jolie, with a group of 4 opponent. Some of the linebackers not playing in this game for ECU. I think that Jolie is going to probably have at least 1 or 2 touchdowns in this game. If I had to kind of put my 2 cents in there.
I think Jolie's yards after catch potential is really big for this game.
Yeah. Michael, what are your thoughts there?
Wolfpack Nation, I know that you're enjoying and loving this interview. I want to interrupt this interview for just 1 second and tell you about a Coney Gold small batch barbecue, y'all, who has some awesome, delicious barbecue sauces and rubs, and even merchandise too that you will love and enjoy. Again, they have barbecue sauces starting with their original, which is a sweet brown sugar based mild barbecue sauce, but they also too have barbecue sauces that are spicy, jalapeno flavored, mustard based, vinegar based, and then they also have too, again, a delicious dry rub that's great. All your chicken, pork, seafood, beef, you name it. If it's any kind of meat whatsoever, that rub will take it to the next level. I can guarantee you that for for sure. So again, go and check out their website, www.oconeygoldbarbecuesauce.com. Use the coupon code Tuffy Talk to get 15% off your entire order. And if your order is also over $99, you also get free shipping as well, y'all. So again, go to oconeygold.barbecuesauce.com. Use the coupon code Tuffy Talk to get 15% off your entire order. Enjoy it, y'all. You will love it, and I can guarantee you that. And as always, go pack and get you some, y'all.
Yeah, I think he's a mismatch at the ACC level. So especially with, some guys they're missing.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. It could be a really, really big game for Jolie.
Yeah. I was just taking a peek to see if by chance UConn played ECU last year. They did not, though I know every year is different, but you can kind of get a thought there. All right. So we kind of talked about special teams. If you're looking at trying to find a miscellaneous thing, if you will. ECU special teams looks pretty good. Looking at their kicker, I had it here just a second ago. Their kicker is he has missed 3 extra points, but he's missed 4 field goals. But he's got a leg. He's 2 of 3 from 50 plus, and then he's actually ironically 0 for 1 within 20 of 29, and then his other misses have been 30 to 39. So, but solid kicker. I think if it comes down to that, but honestly, I don't see this game coming down to a field goal. If I had to take a guess, what do we know that the spread was at? I know on the live stream the other night we said it was down to 5. Has it moved anywhere since then?
I think it's still right around there, 5.5.
Yeah,
I'll check right now.
Yeah. Honestly, I would be shocked if this game is within 5 points.
It's still at 5.5.
Is it 5.5?
Yeah.
Okay, so it depends on who you subscribe to.
That's like it's just like, I don't know. That kind of does worry me if it ends there. I mean, there's still a lot of time. I think it will move as you get closer to the game. Once you know who's playing, who's not. But yeah, I mean, are we kind of going into our predictions here?
Yeah, I guess before we do that, give me a player to watch on both sides of the ball. We'll start with on the defensive side, since we didn't talk about that in episode 1. But give me someone you're looking for on the defensive side to kind of be an impact player, Michael.
I'm gonna say Isaiah Shirley, because I think there's a chance that Davin Vane could sit out, and then you would slide Shirley into the starting role. Mm-hmm. But either way, I think he'll definitely get a lot of playing time.
Okay.
So I think that's my guy on defense.
Okay. Carson, give me yours.
Yeah, mine is probably DK Kaufman.
You sucker! I was going to say that. All right, I'll let you slide. See, that's the host I am. I'll go ahead and give you give you DK. All right, so tell me why.
Yeah, DK's just been a really good player all season.
Yeah.
Right now, if you look at his stats, he has 37 solo tackles, 70 total tackles, and he has 1 sack for 14 yards. I mean, really good player up front, especially being a safety.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just all over the place. Really good player to watch.
Yeah. For me, especially if Aiden White's maybe not playing in this game, I'm going to go my guy up here from Woodbridge, where I live and went to my wife's high school. So shout out the Garfield Red Wolves. He was already born to be a Wolfpack player, Mr. Bishop Fitzgerald. He's a guy that's, been really good for us in the secondary this year, with 7 passes defended, and he's like 5th or 6th on the team in total tackles. Just kind of done a little bit of everything for the Pack this year. So I'm going to go with Mr. Bishop Fitzgerald of my player to watch on the defensive side. So stick it, Carson. You can have Mr. Kaufman. So on the offensive side, I'm going to go ahead and go to you, Carson. Give me your offensive player to watch. And then, Michael, I'll give it to you next.
Yeah, I know we've talked about Justin Jolie, so I'm not going to say him. So I'm going to go with Noah Rogers. We've seen Noah Rogers really come into himself, come into an identity. Obviously, he had that really big catch against UNC Chapel Hill. that pretty much set up the game-winning touchdown. Right now, if you look at his stats, he has 30 receptions for 419 yards, averaging 14 yards a reception. His long as that set is a 75-yard reception, and he has 1 touchdown.
What game was that 75-yard reception? I don't remember. What game was that?
It's not.
I want to say that was Syracuse.
Oh, I thought it was the
Carolina. Yeah.
It was the
Syracuse game where they checked it to see if he stepped out of bounds.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It was kind of end of the game, and it wasn't really the
Yeah, no, I was hoping, I was trying to think if that was the Carolina catch, but it wasn't that far because I was kind of trying to get a dig at Carolina.
That was like a 40-yard catch.
That was like 40 or 50.
Yeah, it was. It felt like 75 though. Just the magnitude of it. All right, Michael, back over to you. Give me your player for this game here.
Yeah, we kind of talked about him for 5 minutes, but I think it's got to be Jonathan Baylor because I think you'll definitely see him get extended playing time for the first time this season. So kind of see what he's all about.
Yeah, I look, as much as the quarterback is important, it's what makes the offense tick. I think I want to go running back. I think this is Jonathan Waters' last game in college, and I think he's going to probably go out with a bang. I think you can pick any number of these any number of these running backs, but I'm going to take Jonathan Waters. I think they're going to feature him heavily with Jordan Waters. Why did I say? So here, full disclosure,
Jonathan Taylor.
No, I know. Hold on, but there's a reason. I work with a guy named Jonathan Waters, so that's why. He's one of my programmers. Jordan Waters. Apologies, Jordan. Jordan Waters, with it being his final college game, I think he's going to want to go out with a bang, and I think that the state offense is going to do everything they can, or Coach and I is going to do everything they can to send him out on a positive note. So that's who I'm going to select. But honestly, it could be any number of those running backs. I think they're primed to do some damage, especially with the D line missing a key cog and the linebackers potentially missing a key cog for ECU. And I think our offensive line's been playing really well, and I think they're just they're all ready. I mean, they get one last chance. A lot of these guys to put the pads on at the collegiate level, and I just feel like it's going to be a thing come next Saturday. But all right, so prediction time. We'll go back over to you, Michael. Kind of give me your predictions and why you feel or think that it's going to turn out that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's any surprise. I think we're all going to go with State here, but I think that being in that in-state rivalry game kind of makes this probably closer than it should be than these teams match up on paper. I'm going to go to State 31, ECU 21.
Okay, 31-21 for Michael. Carson, what do you got?
So if you look at the NC State, my personal keys to the game for NC State, keys to an NC State victory, I got 3.
Okay.
Number 1, give CJ the ball and let him throw. Because as we talked about earlier, ECU secondary, really not very good compared to their defensive line and linebackers. Key 2, put pressure on the run. ECU is not a very good, let's say, QB rushing team.
Yeah.
And their running backs, as we've seen, have been pretty decent. So if we can stop them and put pressure on the run, that can go a long way as well. And then key 3, play with pride and passion. This is a rivalry game. You know how you win rivalry games? You play with pride. You play with some fire. You play with energy.
A little juice.
Yeah. I think that if we execute all 3 of those, then NC State wins comfortably. And so I got us winning 45-14.
Woo!
Yes.
Clip this one. Clip that. Yeah. All right. I like it, Carson. I like it. You making your presence known here, and I think this is like your first recording, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, first recording.
Yeah. All right. Coming in hot with the first recording.
Prediction.
Yeah. So before I give mine, Leighton couldn't be with us in the recording, but he did want to drop his prediction. He is saying State 38-21, so winning comfortably by 17 points. And I kind of think the same thing. I don't think this is going to be a 5-point game. I just don't. I don't know. Vegas knows things. I think 5 points. Like, I get it. I just think State's like, if you look at all this, and I know some of the raw numbers, kind of bear out an even game, but we've talked about it before. We've already talked about it. Like, the schedules aren't even comparable. The two deeps aren't comparable. It looks like there's more potential guys on ECU not going to suit up that are in key positions. Like, these things just feel like all towards a State victory. And if the offensive line lets what's that saying, Carson? Let's CJ, what is it?
Cook.
If they let him cook, ECU's got a team as a whole for the season only has 21 sacks, and so if the offensive line gives CJ time, our guys are just way bigger, way faster, and I just think it's a thing now. Could weather be a thing? It's possible. Like, the weather forecast keeps changing. The game is on AstroTurf, so that's going to be a faster game. But all that being said, I still think this is a State victory. I think State wins by 17, and so math is hard. But I have us 34-20. I'm sorry. No, sorry. 37-20. See, I told you. I just told you math was hard. No, but I think State scores in the 30s. We've been scoring really well the last couple of games, and our defense has done a pretty good job holding opponents under 30 for the most part in the last couple games. So I think it's going to be a 37-20 game. NC State wins. All right, Wolfpack Nation. So that's 3 here on the recording and 1 back at the ranch that has State winning the game. So hopefully our predictions are true. By the way, like we talked earlier, it's been 7 years since an NC State bowl victory. I am 1-5 all-time bowl games. Carson, you are 0-2, and I know you won't be making the trip, and I know Michael, you won't be making the trip. But just out of curiosity, what's your all-time bowl record?
I'm trying to think. I think I went to a win, the Meineke Car Care Bowl one year.
The Meineke Car Care. Was that West Virginia or Louisville?
I don't know. I was real young, so one of those. I think I went to one of the wins. Yeah. But I also went to Music City Bowl the year we fired Tom O'Brien. That was a loss. When I went to the Pop Tarts Bowl last year. That was a loss. So I think I'm 1-2.
Yeah.
So not great, but the only one to win.
Yeah, I know. I got one when I went to the Peach Bowl. Yeah, I went to the Peach Bowl in 92, 93. It's been so long. I was in high school. I don't even remember. That was when we played Mississippi State. So, but anyway. All right, so here's to hopefully a Wolfpack victory. We have a victory Monday after the bowl game, and we can send these guys off, these senior grad guys off with a win in their last collegiate game, and then in the season on a high note and get a winning record, because that's the other thing that we have on the line is a 7-6 or 6-7 season, and it would be the first losing season in quite I think since 19 for Dave Doran. But we don't even want to talk about that. We don't want to put that nonsense in the atmosphere. So anyway, all right, Wolfpack Nation. Again, we always appreciate you tuning into these episodes. We do this for you guys and ladies. So make sure you're following us on all of our social medias, like I said in episode 1. And if you haven't subscribed here on YouTube, please do so, and hit the notification so you can get all this cool content and see these 2 cool dudes next to me getting on our streams and our recording. So that'll do it. Hopefully everyone has a good holidays. We'll drop this before Christmas, so hopefully everyone has a happy and Merry Christmas, safe holidays with your friends and family. And then we'll be hopefully talking to you after an NC State victory. So as always, go Pack.
Go Pack.